Hello everyone, this is Effie. Today I'm going to make this unicorn card using our Lavish Donuts and Unicorns bundle stamp set. So with this bundle, not only can you make some really fabulous donuts, you can also make some really adorable unicorn cards as well. You can mix and match and make unicorn donuts or just regular unicorn cards. So that is what I'm making today. Started off by die cutting the unicorn ears coordinating die on some white cardstock. Then I embossed the actual image onto the die cut. Next, I took the ears again and I kind of squished them onto an acrylic block to make it easy to stamp. I'm not really stamping these to actually use the entire ear image. So I stamped it in our Peach Blossom ink, but you can stamp it in whatever color you want onto some printer paper or scrap paper. I also did the same with the unicorn horn. For these stamped elements that I just created, I'll be using them in conjunction with our double-sided adhesive sheets. Next, I cut out the solid portions of the ears and the horn. When you're cutting these at this point, it doesn't really have to be neat. Next, I took the three pieces and I also cut the pieces out, or the shapes of these pieces out, using the double-sided adhesive sheets, because this is where our glitter is going to adhere to, because I want the glitter to be in the shape of these solid images. I initially cut out the images and the adhesive sheets. I wasn't too careful. I just kind of cut out the rough shape of the elements. But now I put the three solid images against the adhesive sheet, and then I carefully cut the outline of all the solid shapes. Next, I took the protective backing off the ear elements and then I adhered them onto our embossed stamped image. Next, I peeled off the remaining protective paper and dipped the ears into some ultra fine glitter. Then I took a piece of printer paper, folded it in half, and I put my ears into the printer paper folder, and then I burnished the glitter into the adhesive. For any remaining glitter that's on your die cut, you can just brush off the excess using a paintbrush. Repeated the same glitter process for the horn, except this time, instead of cutting out the horn, I actually just used the coordinating die cut. As I took the die off the die cut, it peeled that protective paper off, which is okay, that's what we want. So then I just dipped that unicorn horn into the same glitter, and then I burnished the glitter into the adhesive using my bone folder. Next, I took the coordinating die for the Lavish floral cluster and I die cut the shape onto some white cardstock, but save that negative piece because we're going to use it to help us with stamping the actual Lavish floral cluster. The first foliage stamp, I'll be using our bright emerald dye ink. For the second foliage stamp, I'll be using our ocean teal dye ink. For the florals, I'll be using our Blues Collection layering inks. The first shade that I use is our Blue Diamond dye ink. It's a very pale blue ink, so I actually double stamp this. And using a stamp positioning tool makes this process very easy. After I stamped the Blue Diamond, I went ahead and stamped the second layer in our Cobalt Breeze dye ink. The third layer was stamped in our Parisian Blue dye ink. For the blossoms for this cluster, I actually double stamped all layers. I didn't show that for the second layer. I don't know why. I think I just missed that part of the clip, but everything was double stamped for the blossoms in this floral cluster. You don't necessarily need to do this. Our dye inks are similar to shadow inks in that when you first stamp them, they are splotchy at first, but then as they dry, they do smooth out. Next, I created my own foil cardstock using our foil adhesive sheets. I'm using the gold tone for today's project. So I just lifted away the protective backing just a tiny bit. I inserted a piece of A2 cardstock and then I adhered the foil onto the cardstock, and then I kind of just cut away the excess papers. Next, I took the largest die from our double stitch rectangles die set. This is the smaller die set, and I die cut a border from our gold cardstock. For this project, I'm only using the border. The inner panel, I just set it aside and I will likely use it on another project. Next, I took the third largest die from our double stitch rectangles large collection and I die cut a panel onto some white cards. Then I took my unicorn eyelashes and I stamped these images onto the white panel using our Noir dye ink, which is a crisp and intense black dye ink. Now I'm going to start assembling my card. I have a piece of an A2 size light purple cardstock, which I adhered right onto my top folding A2 card base. Then I adhered my gold foil border onto the purple panel. Next, I went piece by piece with all of my unicorn elements and I popped up all three elements using some dimensional foam tape. I know a lot of people don't like working with glitter because it gets everywhere, but when you're working with a unicorn project, you have to add some glitter and or some rainbows. I left the rainbows out for this project, but I think it still came out really lovely. So thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you next time.